Hello, beautiful ones. This is Lorelei from the Tightrope to 5D Music Reactions. And if you don't know what the fifth dimension is or want to know more about it, stick around to the end. I'm going to give you a special 5D message. Okay, today we are looking at Amira Willighagen, Amazing Grace. Here we go. Oh, check it out. We got the Scottish bagpipes. That's cool. And they're in their Sunday go to meeting Scottish garb. That is so cool. What's the name of those things? Comment if you know the name of that outfit. My goodness, isn't she beautiful in that hair done that way and the whole business? Let's go back a little. I want to see that again. By the way, comment, let me know, do you love that hairdo too? That is one of the best hairdos I've seen on her. Did you see that gorgeous dress, ladies? I want to know how you like that gorgeous dress too. You know, she has such great taste in clothes and she looks so great in them, doesn't she? Also, by the way, go ahead and like this video and like hers later on, please. Just give her a little bit of love.
"'Twas grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my fears relieved. The precious deed that grace appeared, the hour I first believed."
I got to go back a little. I love that when she goes up that relieved. Did you hear the clarity of that note? Just perfectly clear, perfectly on pitch. Here we go.
Grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my fears relieved. The precious deed that grace appeared, the hour I first believed. Through many days.
Did you hear that change? That chord, it went up the scale a little bit. Let's hear that again.
I first believed.
got to go back, and then we're going to hear this. Oh my goodness. But did you hear that? Like that special little ditty there at the end where she, oh, that's so pretty.
Is far and grace will lead us home. And grace will lead me home.
Here it goes. We have to hear that whole thing over again. My goodness, listen to the notes she is hitting. And she's just improvising it. While they're singing the lyrics, she's just improvising. Let's go back. I love these guys. I love these guys. They're so great.
And grace will lead me
Oh my goodness. There we are again. Amazing, amazing singing of Amazing Grace. I don't know how she holds those notes so long. I mean, I'm really serious. Like, I can hit a note high, but it is not, it's like a few seconds and that's it. I'm out of breath. And she, oh my goodness. Oh, by the way, would you guys like to hear me sing once in a while? I was toying with the idea of doing a song here now and again. But I don't want to break up the flow of these reactions. But on the other hand, I could have another little mini sort of channel or something that you could go to where you could hear me sing. So let me know if you'd like to hear me sing. And by the way, subscribe if you're enjoying these. I am enjoying these. Wow. This one is so profound. And I got to tell you, I had to change my scale. You know, I was doing a 1 for what is very third dimensional, fear, pain, sorrow, anxiety, all that stuff, right? And then a 5 for what is very fifth dimensional. But I got to tell you, with this one here, I want to give her a 5 every time. So I got to stretch this out to a 10 on a scale of 10, where, you know, a 5 is midway, a 7 is really going in the direction of fifth dimensional, peace, love, joy, bliss. And a 8 is strongly going there, and a 9 is solidly fifth dimensional, and a 10 literally lifts us up off of our chair and into the skies, right? That's a 10. And this one, I'm going to go with like a 9.7, because I almost went airborne, but not quite, but I almost. So, oh, she is so phenomenal, and she's just pulling for us. This one is an angel come down to the earth. I have no question about it. And she's pulling for us to move up in our vibration. Oh my goodness. So absolutely love that. And those notes she was hitting at the end, spectacular. Wow. Oh my. So, by the way, has a heart of gold as well as singing, and you might know already about her charity Gelix Kinders, and she does all these wonderful things to bring happiness to children. And I just recently came across a video, which is actually her singing a beautiful song while showing what she does. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet, but I'm hearing it's a tearjerker, so have your Kleenex out. So I'm going to put that video in the notes, and some of you may want to support her in that wonderful work. And that's about her and a little bit about me. If you want to know a little bit about my journey, that forged in the fire thing, you can look for, there's a 3-minute video here on YouTube, but it directs you to a longer video elsewhere. And also, if you want to know more about what I'm up to, you could go to my Patreon page. So you go to the YouTube description, drop down to the Patreon about Lorelei, and click on there, and you're going to see the gamut of the things that I do and what might be of service to you. So that is that. And now we're going to get to our 5D message, which is, this is a part 2 to the attachments. How reactivity and our collective PTSD have kept us stuck. Now I know you're saying, what are you, nuts? I don't have PTSD. Nobody I know has PTSD. Well, just hang tight for a minute because we're going to talk about that. But we're for those of you who are coming in fresh right now, we're in the greater conversation of the third dimensional earth. It's a consciousness. We're doing a consciousness shift from the third dimensional earth, fear, pain, sadness, scarcity, lack, etc., to the fifth dimensional earth, consciousness, love, peace, joy, bliss, harmony, abundance, brotherhood, and the whole 9 yards. And as we shift our consciousness to that, the world must spring up around us to reflect what our divine God Spark consciousness, collective God Spark consciousness is saying. So I did recently the first part 1 of attachments, and I talked about the Vipassana centers. I learned the original Buddhist, what Buddha had taught to people to help them let go of their attachments. Okay, and I did this for 10 days. Amazing thing. You can go back to part 1 of the video. But in that video, what we learned, what we saw was that like literally every part of the body is all the time tingling with sensations. Some of them which you like, they feel good. Some of them which you don't like, and they don't feel good. And these are the things at the root of our attachments to like wanting more and more and more of something, or wanting never, never, never that thing, okay? Because it's a body sensation. Now, I was prepped and ready for this because I had done by that point, maybe 15 years of personal growth work. And I knew that when something bad happens to us, it creates a bad feeling, whatever that may be, a bad feeling in our body somewhere, somehow. And then we also have a thought in our head about who we are, how we are, etc. And now all of that trauma kind of thing will recede to the background, but we'll remember that thing that we decided. Fast forward, someone says something, and it kind of triggers that latent memory, and suddenly we're reacting like we did back when that thing happened to us. So let me just tell you that I have had my own sort of PTSD experiences. I would have what they call, now I didn't know what it was, but this disassociative thing where I might walk around. If something triggered me, I could just like go out of my body, and literally the body was walking around here, walking in front of cars for hours on end. This happened a few times when I got triggered. I didn't know I was triggered, of course. And it was dangerous, and so, so it was not a good thing. So I already knew that was kind of something that was going on, something weird. And when I came to personal growth and did all the work on myself, and also working with a professional counselor or psychologist type thing, I started to see, oh, that's what that was. That was disassociative stuff. So that was my personal journey. So now I'm working with other people, and I'm also helping them to release and let go of the things that are in their way, for instance. So there was this one gentleman who, he had trouble asking women out. In fact, he could not ask women out. He was in his mid-30s, and he literally could not ask women out. No, so we started to work on it. He said, where you first had, some of these feelings or whatever, couldn't figure it out. We worked on it a little while, couldn't figure it out. I said, okay, well, let me know this. What are the thoughts in your head? And we looked at all the thoughts in his head when this happens. And one of the major thought was, there's something wrong with me. I can't go do that because there's something wrong with me, and the woman's not going to want to go with me, and everything else, all this whole bunch of stuff. Okay. I said, okay. what about this? What is happening in your body when you're going to do this? Let's say you have to go pick up the phone and ask, you want to go pick up the phone and ask a woman out. What's going on in your body? He says, well, I get this intense like headache and as if the room is spinning around like this. And I literally become disoriented and I literally can't even pick up that phone. I said, okay, when do you first remember having that feeling? And that's when we nailed it. He's 9 years old. He's sitting at the table doing his homework. And suddenly something like really heavy, wham, in the head like that. And he's wobbly. He gets on his feet and he looks and he realized that his father, for some unknown reason, just picked up a glass ashtray and whung it on his head. In that moment, 9 years old, seeing what happened, he goes, there really must be something wrong with me. There must be something wrong with me that he would do that. Now, of course, his father had his own sicknesses and addiction and whatever else. So certainly there was nothing wrong with him. Fast forward, and now here's the same thing. Every time he will go to do that, he gets reverted back to that same feeling state and that same thought right in his head. So you see, the feeling and the thought are intertwined with each other. So that's what happened with this gentleman, by the way. When we saw that, we were able to stop that. Basically, when you prove to the mind that it made something up. See, the mind's not going to let go of any thought about you, such as there's something wrong with you, until you prove beyond a shadow of a doubt, back to the originating instant, that it was not true. Or there's other ways to prove it by raising, consciousness and knowing you're the God spark. But let's just talk about this one. But once you prove, though, beyond a shadow of doubt, it goes away. Like something you've lived with for an entire life is gone. Now, that's certainly a PTSD, right? Think of post-traumatic stress. We think of the guy who's been in the war and then he comes home and then somebody startles him in some way or triggers him in some way and suddenly he thinks he's back, in the war, right? Now that's the very most extreme level of it, okay? That's the very most extreme if you actually forget who you are in the here and now for some space of time, okay? But lower levels of it are if you get triggered back to that feeling state. That's a definite post-traumatic stress thing. You get triggered back to that feeling state and those thoughts, even though you're in the here and now with your conscious brain, but your sort of subconscious is triggering you back to that whole state, that readiness, that, whatever it might be for you. So now you say, well, I never got lobbed in the head with an ashtray. That's okay. You don't have to, because these same things happen to people for what would seem to be silly little reasons, or what would be somewhat bothersome. You went to school and you raised your hand and you said the wrong answer and everybody laughed at you. This becomes a thing, right? And then you don't realize it. But in that moment, you had a body sensation. Maybe you kind of like felt ashamed, right? And then you had a thought, okay, well, I really can't put myself out there because I'm really, or maybe you said, I'm really stupid. I guess I'm really stupid. Whatever you said. And there was a body sensation and a thought attached to it, okay? And I'm describing to you how it has been for human beings historically through the ages, even though we've just been able to sort of nail this down and really understand it. That's how it happens for the regular, normal guy. Or the weenie whistle, right? You guys remember the movie The Santa Claus? And he didn't get the weenie whistle. Now, we all kind of laughed. We thought that was funny, but we only laugh because it's true. We know somewhere inside of us that, yes, these things, these seemingly stupid little things will live inside of us. And what happened to that guy? He decided he could not believe in magic because he didn't get a weenie whistle for the rest of his life. In his 30s or 40s, he cannot believe that Santa Claus could be true because he can't believe in magic. Now, that's a little bit of a silly, example, but it is absolutely true. It is absolutely how it happens for us. So we have this world of people who are walking around in this post-traumatic stress many states, some bigger if they had bigger things happen to them, some smaller, but still it's keeping each person in some way from having the best life. And it's making that person reactionary. Now, how does that get in the way then of how has it historically got in the way of our uplifting ourselves to the higher dimensions or to any higher space? Well, we've got varying levels of it, Some people had a great childhood, and so now and again they'll be kind of reactionary or whatever. But a lot of us had okay, our parents were nice and good and whatever, but they weren't perfect at everything. And so there were some messes that were created, right? And so we became reactionary over the various different things that happen. So now we're going along in life, we're doing fine at work usually, or with friends and whatever. But when you get to that sort of family situation, that's when our reactionariness comes out, right? That's when we get grouchy with people. All of a sudden, they don't know why, you just suddenly bark at them. It's because they said something that triggered something that reminded you. And in came that body sensation, the one I learned about for 10 days. I highly suggest that course, by the way. And so we're going in life and we're having a hard time because we get to feeling good, then somebody says something and then we get to feeling good and somebody says something, we're sad. And we get to feeling good and somebody says something and we're scared like we were when we were little. And we get to feeling good and somebody says something and we're angry like we were at some point, And so it's like a fight, a constant fight to try to bring ourselves up to a higher level. And believe me, the powers that be out in the world, the dark or negative powers, if you will, you know who they are, you know what I'm talking about. They're out there, right? We've seen over the past 5 or 6 years what these ones do. Those guys really are very happy for us to be in misery out here. They don't care if we have enough food, enough money, enough oil, gas, water. Doesn't matter to them at all if we have none of that. So that's a whole nother video, by the way. So you can imagine there are all these ways that we can work with ourselves to let go of this stuff. And some of the stuff I do in the Landmark Forum, or it's now called Landmark Worldwide, those kind of courses. And you can go with various kinds of counselors, addiction counselors and things like that. And those have historically been the way that we have lifted ourselves up. But again, we're still coming down. And it's this long grind and it's a slow process even for that. But as I said in the last video, now we've got a short. We've got a, what do you call it? We got a cheat, okay? We have a cheat now. And our cheat is that we raise our frequency and vibration. We keep a constant monitor on how we're feeling and what's happening in our body and in our mind. And when we feel something coming up either place, right, we raise our frequency and vibration by doing something we love to do. Listen to some great music, dance, sing, watch a happy movie. People have cured themselves from cancer by watching comedy over and over again, watch an uplifting movie, listen to these beautiful songs that I'm bringing to you, especially from this Amira, create, make a piece of artwork, do your, I don't know, creative crafts that you like to do. All of these things, whatever it is that you like, whatever it is that makes you feel good, do that. And it can be as easy, by the way, it doesn't have to be a big deal. It can be just playing with the dog, right? Playing with the cat. Animals are a good way to bring ourselves right into that happy place. So yes, we have been walking around in the low grade as a collective, post-traumatic stress. It's actually true. And what we need to do is to begin to let it all go, find ways to rise up above it. And this will bring us to our higher consciousness over time. This brings us to a higher consciousness because you learn how to stay in that higher vibration longer and longer and longer. It's kind of like when you learn how to meditate. You can only stay focused for a minute, but after a while doing it, you could do it for 5 minutes, and after a while more for 10 minutes. And now I could sit in a meditative state and not have a thought in my head for hours on end, which is a great thing, by the way. I don't get to do it very often with all the work I do, but I can do it without a question. Okay, beloved ones, that's all I wanted to say today. I'm sending you that beautiful fifth dimensional energy, that peace, that joy, that bliss, that harmony, that serenity. That's all I wanted back in the day. Serenity. Here it comes. Namaste. I honor the God in you. How we love you. How we love you. How we love you. How we
love you.